Okay, I want to say what the key word of James is today. The key word in James is the word say. So it looks like if you read James, it's talking about you have to do good works to be a believer, to be a Christian. You have to do good works or you're not a Christian. So the key word is say. A person can say anything. I can say I'm president, doesn't make me the president. I can say I'm of a certain group. It doesn't mean I am. It's just something someone says. So how do I prove if I was said I was president? How do I prove that? Have to prove to people, you have to show them something. Um, Same thing with say, hey, I'm part of this group. How do you prove that? Just saying it doesn't make you part of a group. Um, you can say you're a certain race. How do you prove that to people? You have to show them proof that you're part of a certain race. Some people, you might say, hey, I'm part Native American. Well, how do you prove that? People prove it nowadays with a blood test. So just saying something doesn't mean it's true, doesn't mean anything. So you got to show people. Now, you don't have to show God. You're a Christian, he can see your heart. None of us people can't see each other's hearts. Now, someone can say, oh, he's got a good heart, whatever. You can't see someone's heart. All you can see is their actions. So we judge each other all the time. And I know a lot of people, it's popular today to say, we don't judge me, or you shouldn't judge people. That's not true. We judge everybody all the time. As soon as we meet them, we judge them by their looks. We judge people by their actions. You listen to the news and you hear about somebody doing some appalling crime, hurting somebody, doing something, and we judge them right away in our head and say, that's a bad person. They've done something wrong. Why? Because of their actions. So the book of James is about how do you show other people you're a believer? It's through your works. It's through your actions. It's how you live, what you do. Okay? So uh, it's not about being justified in front of God. So when we read in the Bible the word justification or to be justified, people immediately think that word means salvation, and it does not. So if you're doing it, if you're an accountant, the word justify is talking about taking your negatives and your positives on in a ledger and making them work out. You're justifying the books. You're working it out. In a courtroom, you can say the defendant, he's got to justify himself. So you have to show, that you did not do that thing, or you couldn't have done that thing in a courtroom. You got to prove that. That's being justified in a courtroom. So justified doesn't always have to do with salvation. Look up what the word means. It's got a regular meaning. It's not just a religious word. So to be justified, we're justified in front of God, before God, by our belief, and only God knows what we believe. To be justified in front of people, they can't see our heart. They can't see what we believe. They can't see our thoughts. It's our actions, what we do. Okay, so that's what James is talking about. And let's look at James chapter 2, verse 14. This was huge for me. I was reading James years and years ago when I was younger, and I couldn't make this work out for myself because there's so many verses in the Bible that talk about believing. He that believeth is saved. Salvation is from belief, trusting in God, all these verses. And I couldn't make it work out in my head. Why does James say you have to have works? So here's what it's talking about. So the key word is the word say. James chapter 2, verse 14. What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he hath faith and have not works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding ye give them not those things which are needful to the body, what doth it profit? So it's just talking about you can say anything. So someone comes to your door and says, hey, I'm super hungry, can you help me? And he's like, go on, just leave. And you give him nothing, and you say, be warm and filled, hope you have a nice full belly, and you don't do anything for him. What does that profit the person? Zip, nothing. It doesn't help them. So your words don't mean anything. You have to show action to show somebody that you cared, to help that person. So as far as this is just talking about in front of people. So just keep that in mind. Even so, if he hath not works, okay, and okay, yeah, verse 17. Even so, if it hath not works, is dead, being alone. Yea, a man may say, thou hast faith and I have works. So a man can say he has faith, but show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works. So how do you show other people your faith is by your works? So just remember that. It's by your works. You can say anything. Saying something doesn't mean it's true. Thou believest that there is one God, thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble. But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead? Was not Abraham our father justified by works, when he had offered Isaac his son upon the altar? Now justified how? Justified in front of us, the people who read about it. Justified in front of people who knew him. Seeing thou hath faith wrought with his works, and by works was faith made perfect. And the scripture was fulfilled, which saith, Abraham believed God, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness. So his believing is what made him righteous. And he was called the friend of God. Now it goes on. Ye see then how that by works a man is justified, and not by faith only. Okay, so it's not saying that you have to do works to be a Christian and have faith, because the Bible's super clear everywhere that, go back to Ephesians 2:8-9, it's not by works. It's just faith alone and what Jesus has done for us. If you try to add to it, you're basically insulting God, insulting Jesus, and saying what you did dying for us and what you did wasn't good enough. I have to help. I have to be good also. And that's not true. It kind of seems like it in James. So just remember, this is talking about being justified in front of other people. How can somebody know that you're a believer? They can only judge you by your actions. And we do judge each other. So let's go and see what other spots in the Bible talk about what it just said Abraham did, and he was justified because of his works. So Romans 4, chapter 4, verse 3. For what saith the scripture? Abraham believed God, and it was counted unto him for righteousness. So it was just his belief. That's for God. He's justified in front of God, and that's the person we have to be concerned about, who we're justified in front of is God. When Jesus died on the cross, he died to pay the penalty, and it satisfied God. He was not paying us off from the devil. He was giving justice to God for the punishment we deserved. He took that punishment, and then God said, okay, I'm satisfied. You can come to heaven now if you believe that and trust in Jesus, what he did, and trust in God, which are the same. But it has nothing to do with good works. And in Galatians 3:6, even as Abraham believed God, and it was accounted to him for righteousness. So take that and just remember, it's not works that get you to heaven. Works and being a good person, your actions, all that will change and come later after you become a believer. Become a believer first, just trust God. You don't have to do anything. It's super simple. The gospel's so easy that people think it doesn't make sense. So remember that. Read James again, the whole thing, with that in mind, that James, the book of James, is talking about how do you show other people who can't see your thoughts, don't know your heart, how do you show them you're a believer? It's your works.